opportunity tickets. Our first giveaway is tonight at 6 o'clock. Kids go first, then we give away all that Gucci gear up there for the adults, and then I'll restock it with the stuff I'm giving away tomorrow night. If you do not win tonight with your tickets, keep them. They're still good for tomorrow's drawing. That being said, I want to introduce a very long-time friend of the project. This is Ginger Williams from Sweet Boutique on the Square, formerly of My Honey's Kitchen. She's going to talk to us today about making the most of your garden surplus and what to do with all that extra stuff. So please give it up for Ginger Williams.
Hi, guys. Thank you. So if you've heard me talk before, if you've ever visited me at My Honey's Kitchen, you know I love my food. I love to eat it. I love to preserve it. I love to share it. And I love to share ideas about what to do with it. So one of the things let me just ask you, what do you guys all do with your excess food? I mean, you got too many zucchinis. What do you do with it? You what? Okay, zucchini bread. What else do you do with it? You're done with zucchini bread. You've done all the canning. You've done all the giving. And you still have 20 zucchini. Turn it into flour. It's my new favorite thing to do. So this is freeze-dried zucchini, and I even brought some rolls made with the zucchini flour. If you have a gluten issue, the really cool thing about it is you can do this zucchini flour with your almond flour, and then you have extra nutritional value with your bread and no gluten. So the Amish do this all the time. It also makes a great thickener. I'd say the only drawback that I found is it kind of has a funky little flavor after the end. But other than that, it still gives you a nice, somewhere between a roll and a biscuit kind of texture. So one of the other things that you do with your zucchini is mock pineapple. So mock pineapple, I thought it was kind of a dorky little sounding thing, but we made it. It does taste like pineapple. My daughter-in-law asked me why. And I said, well, again, you got 20 extra zucchinis. It's not that you can't afford the pineapple, but what do you do with them? So if you make it, now you've got something to cook with. It does go really well in your sweet and sours. It goes really good in other things that you want to cook with pineapple. So just in case you don't have the pineapple, here's another option. And we're going to open all this stuff up today so you guys can taste all of it. So then the other thing that I made for us to try, and then I drove off and left it, was zucchini butter. It's a really good spread for things like your hamburger buns or on a charcuterie tray. So it's kind of a fun thing to do with that. But what I thought would be kind of fun is to see what other things you guys might do with zucchini. So we have zucchini bread. Then we have butter. We have mock pineapple. So I'm not saying that your chicken shouldn't eat, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have some mulch, but I'm just thinking that you need to have as much food out of your garden too. And if you're going to grow it, and if you're one of those wonderful people who doesn't realize that 2 or 3 plants go a long way, and you're generous with your neighbors, pretty soon you're going to start locking their house, and you're going to start locking their cars, so you can't give them anymore. So, and then we got flour. So what are the things that you guys would do with your zucchini, extra zucchini? I mean, we're going to start with zucchini just because that's a big one. Relish. I will tell you that zucchini and literally any sauce that you make takes on the flavor of whatever you're making. I put it in my spaghetti sauce. I put it in my salsa. I've even made zucchini salsa. I put it in my marinara sauces. Literally anything that you put zucchini in, it will pretty much absorb the flavor of what you're cooking, and it becomes part of it. So even though you might have now, when we move on to tomatoes, we'll talk about the abundance of tomatoes, which you didn't really want to add the abundance of zucchini to because now you have more tomatoes. But anyway, so yes, so relish is a really good one. What else do you guys do? Any other ideas what you guys would do or do? Let's see here. Of course, I love my other things. One of the other things that I've also found out too is that you can also make zucchini chips. So if you're a dehydrator or a freeze dryer, you can slice it up really thin, and then so instead of potato chips, just make chips. So then that gives you another nutritional way to eat them. Zucchini has a ton of nutrition. So if you can find ways to utilize your zucchini as much as possible without having to mulch them or give them to the chickens or the cows or whatever other critter might eat them, then at that point, then you're saving your family a lot of nutritional, because I like potato chips, but also zucchini chips, flavored any way you'd like them. I've had them with barbecue. I would prefer them with garlic, pepper, or salt, but you can flavor them literally any way you want to. So zucchini is one of the big ones that I know that lots of people have excess. See if I can do this without a lot of feedback. Okay. So the next one that we have is everybody seems to always have, what the heck do I do with all my extra tomatoes? Of course, we have our salsa. We have our spaghetti. And I can't spell that today, apparently. Sorry. If there's any teachers out there, I went to a small school. You got your marinara sauces. You've got all the sauces. So what else can you do with your tomatoes? Huh? Juice? Jelly was one of the things I just discovered, and I brought some. I'm so excited to try it. Well, I'm hoping this is like a savory one. So I had my mom used to make a green jelly. So yeah. So this one is. Let's see here. It's right here. So we're gonna give this a try. I brought some crackers. I brought some stuff we can try it all on. So okay, what else? We had jelly, juice. Oh, ketchup. Sorry. Okay. The nice thing about ketchup is, has anybody ever looked at a bottle of ketchup in the grocery store? So much junk. So ketchup, when you make it at home, you can obviously delete how much sugar you want. You can also, I make jalapeno ketchup sometimes. You what? I say, and when I make it, I put it in a crock pot and I just leave it sit on my countertop. Sometimes 2 days because it takes it that long to get down to the consistency I want it. But it's one of the easiest things to make because you don't have to think about it. So what else can you do with your tomatoes? Okay. So then you can also do sun-dried tomatoes. You can also do tomato chips. You can also powder it. When you powder your tomatoes, it's a great thickener for your soups, sauces, or other things. Or I am not a patient person when it comes to boiling down my spaghetti sauce to make it thick because I'm thinking, I just worked for this much. I am not boiling it down to this much. So you can take some of your tomato powder and add it to it to thicken it. So now I'm going to actually get 22 pints or quarts or whatever out of my big pot of salsa or spaghetti sauce. I've had friends say, but you're supposed to let it boil down no. I just peeled all those tomatoes. I'm taking every one of them and putting it in a bottle. So you can powder it, and then the powder can go a long way. The only problem that it is with powder is that it likes to cake up. So that's one of those things that you make sure when you store it that you put a moisture pack in with it, or you can vacuum seal it. Let's see, what else did we do with ours? Sometimes we chop ours up, and then we just have chopped tomatoes, and then we just freeze dry them. So if you're looking for a quick dinner, anytime that you can have your powder or your chopped or your whatever, you throw it in there, throw it in with some broth, and throw it in with some meat, and then whatever vegetables you want to throw it in there, and you got soup. You can make the fastest dinners with all your freeze-dried or any of your other sauces. And once you get this and you get this, dinner's like the fastest thing in the world. So, okay, what else can you guys do with your tomatoes? One of the other things that I have seen and I have personally had to deal with is too many cucumbers. And cucumbers go bad fast. They're not your friend when it comes to what the heck do I do with them. So you have to figure out what you're going to do with them soon. So when my farmer's market lady was coming to town, I said, I just want your big ones that you forgot about in the garden. Because we make cinnamon pickles. Pickles are obviously one of the things that you do with cucumbers. Cucumbers are the cool thing though, you can ferment them, you can can them, you can do pickles a lot of different ways with them. You can use them almost immediately, or you can put them in a jar and let them sit for 6 weeks. But then when you get those big ugly ones, a lot of people like to throw those away. So that's when we do our cinnamon pickles. We also do what we used to call slicks, and you would just take them, and then they're like a really soft pickle that are great for chopping up and putting them on like hot dogs and stuff. So your cucumbers don't dry very well. They're super, super moist and super, super wet. When we tried to make some tetrazzini seasoning with them, we ended up with a great big clump of yuck. So cucumbers are one of the things that end up being in your mulch or your chicken pen quicker than anything else. But to try to utilize it, I mean, obviously you have your relish, you have your pickles, and you can, like I said, you can pickle them, you can ferment them, and then you have your just a variety of pickles. I was amazed at the variety of different kinds of pickling that you can do with them. I always found that was unique. The cinnamon pickles, I always tell people I had to marry my husband to get the recipe. So I was at my mother-in-law's house for the first time and had dinner, and these were amazing. So I told my husband, I said, well, I guess to get the recipe, I have to marry you. So there we are. So anyway, so cucumbers are one of those ones that are super touchy. But again, you can also take the peels of your cucumbers and you can dry them and powder them. They are not great for flavor, but they're great for your water. So the other thing you do too is you can crush them up, make them into your like ice cubes. So you can put them in water for later date for like people who like to refresh it with your water. I'm not a fan of cucumbers in my water, but apparently that's a real thing. Let's see here. Peppers. And peppers are your jalapenos, your bell peppers, your habaneros, your whatever peppers you're making. I quickly discovered that just because you like to use a lot of peppers, 20 pepper plants produce a lot of peppers. So you have to find ways to use peppers because chickens don't love peppers. So we discovered how to make cowboy candy, which is kind of a spicy sweet. Obviously, then we learned how to make jalapeno jelly. That was my first year, probably about 10 years ago. And I thought, well, if you can make jalapeno jelly, then obviously you can make it with any fruit you have. So that's when we started doing the peach, jalapeno, and the choke cherry and all that good stuff. So jalapeno jellies are fantastic. The cool thing is the more unique you can make, the greater gifts you have to give. So yes, you made 20 jars of this. You don't have to keep 20 jars of this. You got neighbors, you got friends, you got relatives. So you got Christmas taken care of. out of your garden, effort taken care of. So anyway, so at the store we made jalapeno jelly, but then I also made blackberry jalapeno and so quick question. Does anybody know what humbleberries are? Well, I didn't either. Somebody brought me in something and I thought they told me they called them grapes. Farmer's market, there's this table with these humbleberries on them. And I said, if I didn't know better, I'd say those are choke cherries. And she says, well, no, those are humbleberries. And I went, so I went back to the store and I went looking for recipes for humbleberry anything because I thought it'd be really cool to make humbleberry pie. So, but humbleberries, I guess, are some backwoodsy way of saying choke cherries. So anyway, but I made humbleberry jelly because that's what I'm going to call it because I thought it was really cool. So anyway, so if y'all want to have something fun, you got humbleberry pie now, even though it's choke cherries. So anyway, so with peppers, the cool thing about peppers is anytime if you guys do, if you make fajitas or any of that kind of stuff, you can slice up all of your peppers and you can can them. You can can them in slices and they're great because you just dump the juice off of them, throw them in with your chicken, and dinner's done. So anytime that you can take your peppers, after you've done your salsas, you've done all your things, you've done all the other fun stuff, you can obviously have sliced jalapenos for the spicy stuff. You can make the candy. You can do all sorts of different things with your peppers. Habaneros, I dry mine, and then we put those in our spices that we make. So that's the other cool thing you can do with most of your peppers and most of your tomatoes is you can also dehydrate them, freeze dry them, and turn them into spices and create your own spices. I don't know if you are aware that when you buy spices in the grocery store, unless it says otherwise, they use an anti-caking agent, which is like sawdust. So that's why it takes a lot to have any flavor is because it's not all spice. So if you can find spices that you like, Danos is a great spice. He does not use anti-caking agents. We don't use anti-caking agents, but that's one of the things you got to be really careful of is when you're looking at your spices, you can make your own and you can dehydrate your own stuff from your garden to create your own. And I was waiting for lids to come for my bottle so I could bring you some so you guys could try them. And apparently I don't know how to order lids properly, so I've got 3 sets of lids and not the right size. So that's another date. Anyway, then, so those are pretty much your biggest. What other vegetable do you guys run into that you have excess of? Okra. Okra? Yeah. I do like me some okra. Okra's great freeze dried. Put that baby in a bucket and you can do whatever you want with it. So okra, has anybody ever canned okra? It's the slimiest, most disgusting thing in the whole wide world. And you can't rinse that stuff off fast enough. So I find with my excess okra, I say pickle them. I guess I've never pickled them, but that would be a good option. So with my okra, I freeze dry it, or I make my gumbo, and then I can my gumbo. So whatever you want to put it in, I would make it, and I would bottle that. Because otherwise, if you don't love okra to begin with, you're not going to love it when you open it. So, and okra is like, it produces a lot too. I was actually really surprised. I had never grown okra. My grandfather was an okra grower, and I did not have any idea that okra was so prolific. So okra is one of those things that you have to love it. But freeze drying it for me is the best way just because it's easier to store, and I can throw it in the gumbo or the jambalaya or whatever we're making with it. So when it comes to fruit, I'm not sure where in our psychology that we decided if 2 apple trees are good, 15 would be better. Whoever planted my orchard decided that at least 8 trees was plenty for people, 2 people. So I have lots of apples at my house. I don't know if any of you guys ever run into lots of apple problems, but so when it comes to apples, you got your applesauce, you got your apple butter, you got all that fun stuff, but then you got all these peels. What do you do with the peels? Yep, apple cider vinegar. You got apple scrap jelly. Um, and so it was kind of fun to discover I can get a lot of more use out of my one little apple. Not was running low on apples, but I want to make sure I get as much out of my apples as I can get. Uh, so if you can take your apple scraps and you can make your apple cider vinegar, then you also know what's in your apple cider vinegar. Um, I don't have any idea why, but our foods at our grocery stores are becoming less and less pure. I mean, the honey's being, yes. My recipe? Which one? This one? Yep. I fill this baby up about 3/4 with scraps. I put about 1/4 cup of sugar in there. Huh? Oh, and 1/4 cup of sugar. Oh, and 1/4 cup of sugar, and then I just fill it up with filtered water. And then you put a coffee filter on it, or you can do cheesecloth. And you need to weigh it down. And all my weights didn't fit in here, so I just have a little cup full of water that I just set on top of it to help hold things down. Otherwise, you'll end up with mildew. The first time I made this, I made some really good fruit fly growing grounds. My house was filled. So I also had a friend who put this, and then she put like a balloon on the top. And when the balloon grew and grew and grew, and when it popped, that's how she knew it was done. So, but her house smelled really, really bad. So I just did this down at the store so I don't have to smell it in my house. So apple cider vinegar is like super easy. And then the mother develops after a while, and then it's the real stuff. So from another run, I would think you could. I don't see why you couldn't, because the mother would help it ferment quicker. And not ferment. So the cool thing is you can also do the same thing with your peach peels and your peach scraps. So peach cider vinegar, it would just be a different flavor, but it would have the same kind of idea for cooking and or even health benefits. Just has a peachy flavor versus an appley flavor. So you can do that. I have not tried it with anything else other than with peaches and with and my apples. So I assume you could probably do other fruit, but that's what I'm. Huh? Have you done the pineapple? We had a pizza restaurant in long time ago, and we couldn't figure out how come our pineapple on our table had bubbles in it, and every once in a while somebody would taste one and they'd say, well, it's kind of like tart. I mean, I had a bunch of teeny boppers who hadn't had alcohol in their life, and it was like, oh, we're making wine on our table. So the yeast from our gloves, when we were handling the dough, when we go in and handle it, would get into the pineapple. So we were making some great pineapple, fermentation going on. So then the other thing, and when we get to peaches, peach pit jelly. So when you get done with your peaches and you've done all the things that you want to do with your peaches, save all your peach pits. Peach pit jelly is one of my favorites. And it doesn't always set, which is fine because then it makes great ice cream covering or great syrup for your pancakes or for whatever. But peach pit jelly was another reason I had to marry my husband, because his mother was the only person I'd ever seen make it. And I thought she was kind of crazy because I thought peach pits were really, really bad. But you just boil these guys and cover them with water. And then when they're all done, you get 4 cups of liquid out of it. And you just make jelly. I mean, obviously, you strain the pits out of it. But it's a beautiful color, and it tastes so good. So anyway, so those are some of the things that I like to do with my excess, with things that I would normally just throw out. And I think that, as we go through the trouble, growing a garden is hard work. I've been in Missouri for 5 years now. 3 of those years, I have made my husband till the ground. 2 of those years, we actually planted seeds. And I have yet to harvest anything out of it because I'm never home to do anything with it. So now he refuses to till and he refuses to do any of that until I close my store. But I love to my farmer's market lady is my best friend because I just tell her what I need. But when you go through all that effort and then to just throw it out to the chickens, it's kind of sad that, you've run out your neighbors because they also sometimes grow gardens too. And we're trying to become self-sufficient. And so you need to make sure that you can get the most out of your garden, the most out of your efforts to preserve as much food as possible for the rainy day or for the neighbor who just needs a special gift and you have something super unique or whatever. I'm all about unique ideas when it comes to canning. And so, if you guys have some fun ideas that you guys do that you want to share, I would love to hear it. Otherwise, we're going to open some things up, and you guys are welcome to come up and try them. I have meat and cheese and crackers, and we will open up everybody, and you guys can try it. These 2 items, the cowboy candy and the tomato jelly, would be best, I would think, on crackers with cheese and meat. The bread, I brought plenty that everybody could probably have a whole roll. Anyway, and we can put some jelly on it, or you put some cream cheese and jelly on it, or you can do whatever. This I just started a week ago, so it's not quite ready to taste. So, and then if anybody, I realized I was going to bring baggies, but if anybody wants to take some of the zucchini flour to mess around with, you are welcome to come and get some. This flour is this full, and this is 6 really big zucchinis. So you can get a lot of zucchini flour out of your zucchinis. You what? I shredded it, freeze dried it, and put it in the blender. But if you don't have a freeze dryer, you can dehydrate it and put it in your blender. Super, super easy. And the Amish use this all the time as their backup flour. And when I saw that it was also really good as a gluten-free kind of flour, I don't have this issue, but I know it's a big prevalent issue nowadays. So I thought this would be a good way to make sure you have extra nutrition in your breads. And that's the other thing too, is when you're cooking your things, is to try to find ways to get nutrition into things that don't normally have a lot of nutrition. So, anyway, so you guys are welcome to come up and take some of this. I do not have Ziplocs, so if somebody wants to get some Ziplocs, or I have little plates, so that's not going to get you very far because it's really flighty. Anyway, so any questions? Yes.
Just a comment. You said other ideas. I have made an amaretto type alcohol with the peach pits before.
With which?
With the peach pits.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah, you take the peach pits and cover it with the high grain alcohol and let it sit for a really long time.
Uh-huh.
And it's very similar to amaretto.
Very nice. Thank you. I did the same thing with elderberries. I made myself some elderberry brandy because it's really good for colds and so forth, and I thought it would help with my voice. Yes.
So something that I do with leftover fruits, whether it's choke cherries or peaches or whatever, is I'll go ahead and process them, add sugar, and make syrups out of them. And the sugar works as a preservative, and then I can further process them into jellies or brandy or anything later.
Nice.
So I just keep them stored.
So is that with your cherries?
Choke cherry syrup
cherries.
Or peach syrup, which peaches turn into brandy.
Okay.
Choke cherries, I can make carbonated drinks with them. Ferment them with brewer's yeast to make carbonated choke cherry drinks. I do the same thing with sarsaparilla root.
Uh-huh.
I go ahead and make a syrup, and then I can either just add it to ginger ale or something, or I can ferment it.
Nice.
Make carbonated drinks out of it.
Okay, well, thank you. I say, when we lived in Montana, I discovered choke cherries. I had never had choke cherries a day in my life before then. And I discovered that they make fabulous syrups and they make fabulous jellies, and I could do all sorts of fun things with them. But there was all these trees that lined the roads, and I was thinking all those berries are going to go to waste. So I went and I picked and I picked and I picked and I picked, and I had like 18 gallons of choke cherries, and I put them in my freezer. And our freezer happened to be outside, and come springtime, there was enough moisture in there that all 18 gallons were now under ice. My husband was not a very happy camper at me, but I realized that next spring they all came back. So apparently that's a normal thing. So anyway, so yeah, so maybe having turned it into some fermenting a little bit would have helped. So thank you.
I started growing a new squash this year called tromboncino, and in the summer it's like zucchini. And if you let it continue to grow, instead of becoming a baseball bat that you put on your neighbor's front porch, your least appreciated neighbor's front porch, it turns into essentially like a long neck butternut squash, and it's delicious.
Huh.
I happen to have one with me today because of the seed exchange, and so I was going to show it and then offer the seeds. But it's delicious as a zucchini. I don't know if it has the same. I mean, I use it just like a zucchini. It had a similar flavor. I don't know about its consistency as far as using it for flour, but for a butternut squash type thing, it was absolutely delicious. I made it a couple nights ago when I made I cooked it in an electric skillet with potatoes and some.
So is the skin hard?
You peel the skin off
Okay, okay.
with just a regular, a potato peeler. And
Yeah.
then I ran it through a salad master machine, just got little chips, and it was actually delicious.
I bet you make really good chips too.
Yeah, it
So-
was sweet and it had really good flavor.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. I'll have to look for those. Anything else?
I got one here that I'll come up.
Okay.
So one other thing, I had an elderly lady a few years ago that she gave me a recipe for corn cob jelly.
Mm-hmm.
And she just she uses the red corn cobs because it gives the jelly a pink color. And she just boils the corn cobs in water, simmers them for a couple of hours, strains the water off of the corn cobs, and then for each cup of liquid, she adds 1 box of pectin.
Okay.
And it's really good. It actually has a hint of corn.
And kind of like a yellow plate color to it too.
Well, it's
Sounds
pink.
like a depression.
Oh, okay.
It's pink because of the red corn cobs.
Okay.
But yeah, she said that that's something that when she was a little girl, they didn't have anything and they made jelly out of corn cobs.
That's interesting. I say one year I decided that I was going to be like super frugal with everything I got. So I took all of my corn cobs from my corn and I made corn syrup. And I'm just here to tell you that I'm going to go buy cases of corn syrup and never make that again because it was not cost effective in the least bit. And so it was a lot of work to boil. And and it was great. I knew that I'd made that corn syrup, but so not worth it. So the jelly might be worth it.
Yeah, I was just going to mention you were talking about
And some people truly are gluten intolerant. Like they've got Crohn's, some of the celiac or something like that. But a lot of people who think they're gluten intolerant, myself included, turns out it's the opposite. You can't tolerate the virus.
Correct.
So like my daughter went to Europe, her husband last year. She can't eat any of the bread in the US. She can eat all the bread over there, any of it, any way it was made. They're not allowed to import our food.
Nope, because of all the stuff we put on it. So if you've ever had the opportunity to have einkorn is your ancient wheat and has not had all that.
and yet it's the gluten that enables us to do so many wonderful things
Yep,
with wheat.
yep, absolutely.
And the substitute.
But it depends on where your
ingredients-
gluten comes from. If you're adding gluten to things that already should have gluten in them, and you're adding more gluten and you have an issue with gluten, then you obviously are going to created you.
See, that's the whole point. I don't actually have a problem with gluten. I have a problem with glyphosate.
Right.
I'm glyphosate intolerant, not the same thing. Took me a
Correct.
while to figure that out.
Yeah,
So,
I say it's
yeah.
amazing that what we have done to our grain here.
I get, well, me and a whole bunch of other people, I get actually physically ill if I eat gluten. It is so limiting.
Yeah.
But anyway, just wanted to say,
Yeah.
just quit buying the leaves.
Yep.
Any other questions before it's time for taste and tell? Oh, I'm going to sneak through here, you guys.
Uh-oh.
This feels staged. Is this staged? Are you a cop? You got to tell me if you're a cop.
So another thing I noticed is with oranges, they bruise really easily. And so you use the inside, but you throw away or give to the chickens the peels.
Except the peels, then you can also put into lovely sugar, and you can make
Yeah.
candy peels, and you can do all sorts of fun things with your peels. I take our peels, we freeze dry them, and I powder them, and then I have orange zest.
Yeah.
So
We
I also put it in
can't-
alcohol, and then I have imitation, well, not imitation, I have real orange flavor for my rolls and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
We canned, my mom canned some orange marmalade and
Mm,
diced up the peels and put it in there. And it was really good.
yes. Thank you.
Anyone else, real quick, before we come up and try some of the deliciousness? All right,
All right.
go try some goodies.
All right. We can, let's see here. I figure we're all camping, so nobody's going to be really upset if I don't use gloves, right? Okay. I promise my hands are clean. Okay. Okay. I've got little plates. And we have spoons for that. Yes, please. Thank you. Let's see here. We'll do that. Michaela, can I have you open these up for me, hon? You just open everything up. And you are welcome to just try anything you want. Give you guys some cream cheese to put some things on if you want to put a dab of cream cheese. Put that there. All right, so this is going to be sweet. These two are sweet. These are very spicy. And these are the jellies. We can just leave that open. I mean, that way they can. You what? Really good. Yes. Yeah, thank you. The apple didn't taste nearly as much, but that's okay. Yeah, it does. That's right. Or ice cream.
Real quick, a quick point. While you guys are coming up to sample this, don't leave right away because there are some important announcements for the rest of the night's activities. We still have 4 more activities planned after the class, so stick around after you've gotten your fix. And Angie, that means I'm going to need you up here in about an hour. Well, about 20 minutes just for announcements. Here at about 4 o'clock, we're going to go ahead with final announcements for the rest of the evening's events. So in about 9 minutes, we have some town criers going out to let everybody else know what's going on. About 4 o'clock, we'll start putting out the information In the meantime, continue to gorge. I want some of that cowboy candy. Yes.